Hello guys, it is Scott, and yes, I'm actually recording a video. I know it's not a common occurrence. I've spent way too much time not uploading, so I may as well just start uploading again. But anyway, let's just get back on track. So yes, it has been a long while since I've actually uploaded a video, which is basically like just me actually talking to you. And yeah, and today, as you can tell by the title, this is actually my first video of 2019. It's going to be a first half review of the Scottish Premiership season. Obviously I am Scottish, I mean you can quite, obviously I am Scottish. Don't know if it was, the room that gave it away, the accent. You're probably wondering what I mean by the room is because, just, look at this, over there, a bunch of Celtic stuff. Yes, that's the club I support. And hold on just a sec. I've even got this geezer. Whoopee. I even made like a kit number as well. I put the kit and then I put the 7 because that's how many times Celtic have won the league in a row. And to be fair, this might need to change to 8. I don't know, but we'll just need to see how the rest of the season. But today, I'm gonna be reviewing every single club's season so far. I'm gonna be grading them based on like how they've been doing so far, and basically I'm just gonna basically do just that, review the season so far. So yeah, hopefully as a Celtic fan I'll hopefully try not to be biased, but yeah, let's start things off with Dundee. So Dundee, obviously bottom of the league. Obviously, I mean, they're really having a bad time. I did think that now that, say, Partick Thistle and Ross County are down in the Championship, that Dundee would basically be the favourites to get relegated, along with, like, Hamilton Accies and maybe St Mirren. Although Livingston, I was confident they probably would stay up, which they are, and they're actually not having a bad season, to be fair, given what probably most of us thought. But, yeah, Dundee, they're really having a bad time. They've played 21 games so far. They've only won 2. They've drew 4 and have lost 15. They are rock bottom of the league. To be fair, they could still survive the drop because they are only 2 points off St Mirren and 4 points off Hamilton Accies, who are in 10th. So I mean, they're not that far off relegation, but I still think that they will finish rock bottom, and I think they are going to finish. I think they are going to get relegated down to the Championship, and Dundee United will probably get promoted. But this isn't a video about predictions, because I didn't make a video about predictions. I will do that for next season. But I mean, Dundee. Nobody impressed with them this season, and it's got to be an F. It's just got to be an F. It really has been poor for them so far. So next up in 11th place is St Mirren. Now St Mirren, I wasn't really expecting much from them at the start of the season. I did think they would have just enough to stay up, but I wasn't really confident for them. I thought they might be able to put in a few surprises here and there, and to be fair, they have done that. But they're not having a very good season. 21 games, they've only won 3, they've only drawn 3, and they've lost 15, so the same amount as Dundee. Whereas Dundee have 10 points, St Mirren have 12, only 12 points on the board after 21 games. 21 games, how can you only score 12 points? Less than 15 points. Like, don't get me wrong, St Mirren were not. Nobody was really absolutely confident that St Mirren would stay up. Yes, they did win the Championship last season, I believe, but I think they did win the Championship last season. But I mean, nobody really thought they would do anything crazy. And to be fair, they did absolutely stun Hearts back in November. But we're gonna need to talk about them a little bit later, because don't get me wrong, I've got a massive rant about Hearts coming up in just a few minutes. So yeah, St Mirren really has just been pretty poor. I did think they'd stay up, but I didn't think they'd do anything outrageous. But I mean, at least if just to give them a little bit of positivity, they are going to get a goal this season, because that goal against Hearts to put them 1-0 in front. That was just, I'm sorry. If you haven't seen it yet, go and search it. Just search St Mirren 2 Hearts now, and then the SPFL channel put highlights up. And yeah. But yeah, the goal is an absolute cracker, and I suggest that you look it up, because it stunned me when I saw that. I was like, right, we can just stop goal of the season right now, because I don't think anything will top that. So that's a positive. Apart from that, what have they really done, apart from the 2-0 win against Hearts? I mean, they did win 1-0 against Motherwell. They did win 2-1 against Dundee at the start of the season. They even took a point against Celtic, but yeah, we're going to need to get onto them much later on in the video. But yeah, St Mirren, again, I've just got to rate them an F, really. Apart from, it would have been slightly higher if they were, like, had a few more points on the board and were actually ahead of the next club, which in 10th place, it's Hamilton Accies. So, Hamilton Accies, yeah, it's just kind of what we expect from them now. They're just really not a good club. They're just no good enough, and I feel like they'll be very lucky if they stay up this season. I had them making the playoffs to see if they even stay up, but yeah, Hamilton Accies, they really are just, 21 games, they've only won 4, they've drawn 2, and they've lost 15. Every single club appears to be losing 15 games this season. Like, what is going on? Anyway, so they sit 10th in the league with 14 points on the board. They've really just been shocking. I mean, they've just lost 2-1 to Motherwell, who we'll talk about next. And then just other defeats like 3-0 against Celtic. Yeah. They even lost 4-0 to Dundee. Dundee. Just let that sink in. The club that is bottom of the league beat Hamilton Accies 4-0. Yeah, I couldn't believe it either. Yeah, Hamilton Accies have been absolutely shocking this season. There are points where they were like quite a way ahead of Motherwell. They were actually ahead of Motherwell for a good little portion of the season. Then Motherwell stepped up and really got their crap together. Won a few games and they've leapfrogged them, and are now comfortably ahead of them now. 7 points the gap is between Motherwell and Hamilton. But yeah, Hamilton, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have again. It's another F. I know this is getting a bit boring, but I mean still, it's just ridiculous. Hamilton Accies really have been poor. Next up in 9th place is Motherwell, and Motherwell, start of the season they were very, very poor. They were very poor. I mean, they got a 3-3 draw against Rangers. They got a win against Dundee, 3-0 I think it was, and so they were bottom of the league after the first few match days, but yeah, they really have turned it around. I mean, they did get a 1-1 draw against Livingston, and then they lost 1-0 to St Johnstone, but really ever since they beat St Mirren 2-0, I wouldn't really say they've been like rapidly improving, but they've definitely slowly been getting better. Of course, there have been some pretty bad moments since that 2-0 win against St Mirren, like when they eventually lost against St Mirren in December, and of course, who could forget that 7-1 hammering that Rangers hit on them back in November. I mean, that was just brutal. I mean, they were 3-1 down at half-time. They weren't going to win the game if they're 3-1 down at half-time, but you still think maybe they can get maybe another goal, maybe they can hopefully try and defend that way, you don't concede another one. No, they just go and concede 4 in the second half and lose 7-1, but really that's one of the only bad spells in what realistically has been a pretty okay run from the St Mirren when the end of October up to now, because they were right down the bottom of the league after the first 2 match days, and for God's sake, they even got a 1-1 draw against Celtic in December until we then hammered them 3-0. So yeah, in terms of Motherwell, they are starting to turn their season around. So for that, I'm gonna give them a D. I mean, they just won the bloody derby against Hamilton Accies. So yeah, a D for Motherwell. I think that's reasonable. And next up is Hibernian, in 8th position. Hibs are in 8th. What? Why? I'm not a massive Hibs supporter or anything. I mean, I do kind of like that club. They'd probably be like one of my second or third favourite Scottish clubs, but Hibs really have been poor, really ever since October. I mean, just before Celtic beat them 4-2 back in October, Hibs were as high as second in the league, and now they're 8th. So it just makes you think, what the bloody hell has happened to them? With the squad that they have, they should get at least top half of the table. Maybe even top 3, you don't know. I didn't think they'd get top 3, although they definitely should be doing much better than what they are currently doing. They just lost their derby 1-0. They've really been poor. Like, they were 2-0 up against Dundee back in November until Dundee drew somehow. Yeah. So Hibs really have been going on a downward spiral, and so for that I can only give them a D. I'm sorry. Next up in 7th is probably the surprise package of the season so far, and it's Livingston. Livingston are in 7th, and I think quite a fair few of us, especially since they just got up via the playoffs, they would just go straight back down again. But no, that's not happening at all. They are actually doing really, really well, and they're definitely staying up. I mean, they beat Rangers at the start of the season, like back in September. So I mean, that was obviously a really big, a massive win for them. They've also like beat Motherwell as well. They drew 0-0 against Celtic, which it wasn't absolutely fantastic, but still, they also destroyed Hearts 5-0 back in December. I mean, that was just mental. It was 0-0 with 15 minutes to go. Then they went on an absolute rampage and scored 5 goals. I mean, that was ridiculous. And then, yeah, it really has been a pretty decent season for them. They have had a very good season, and for that, I have to give them a B. I'm going to give them a B. So next up in 6th place, it is currently St Johnstone. Now St Johnstone, for a while, they looked like they were definitely going to finish bottom half of the table. They kept on just getting hammered by everyone, like 5-1 against Rangers at the start of the season, and like they've also like they just narrowly sneaked a win against Motherwell, who at the time were really struggling, and then who could forget when they get absolutely battered 6-0 by Celtic? They get absolutely slapped silly. But yeah, St Johnstone, they are slowly improving. I mean, for God's sake, they came back against Rangers and they actually took the lead just before half time until Morelos scored a brace to win the game for Rangers. But still, St Johnstone have not been doing that badly this season. They're round about where I expected them to be, and so for that, I'm going to give them a C. Purely because of the bad start they had and all the batterings they were getting that way. And in 5th place is Hearts at the moment, and where to start with them? Now, usually the last few years, 5th place is a reasonable position for Hearts. I mean, they finished 6th last season, I believe, and they're currently 5th this season, so they're round about that bracket pretty much every single year. They finished 5th 2 seasons ago, but yeah, they could be doing so much better. Like, for example, they were top of the league from August all the way up to November. I mean, they even beat Celtic at the start of the season. They had an unbeaten run for 7 games until the first kind of bad spell of the season where they get thumped by Rangers 3-1, which, to be fair, it was a minor setback for them, but they were still the favourites at that point. But then the League Cup semi-final where they get smashed 3-0 by Celtic. I mean, yeah, it's not ideal, but it's not the end of the world. However, the next game in the league, that was the end of the world. They played Celtic at the start of November, and just bloody hell. I mean, Celtic slapped them silly in the League Cup semi-final, slapped them silly again in the league. This time 5-0, and and Hearts' lead was only cut down to just 1 point. And to follow up, the next week they lost 1-0 to Kilmarnock, then 2-0 to St Mirren, as I've already said before. And then they also, but then they drew 2-2 to St Johnstone. They did win against Motherwell, but then they lost 2-1 to Rangers as well, and then they get thumped 5-0 by Livingston, and then lost 2-0 to Aberdeen. They did just win the derby, but I feel like any chances of them winning the title, well, I shouldn't really say that because they do still have a chance, but they're definitely not the favourites anymore. And next up, in 4th position at the moment, is Aberdeen. Now, the Dons had a very poor start to the season, very poor. They were as far down as 8th at the start of the season. They were that far down, and most people didn't have them finishing top 4. But fair play, they're getting it. The Dons are getting it done. I mean, they really are turning their season around. They really are just. They just started constantly winning games. Like for example, 2-0 against Hearts. They've also beat Rangers 1-0, and not just the League Cup semi-final, but also in the league as well. They've been constantly picking up points, just left, right, and centre. And then, the 3-0 loss against Motherwell wasn't the best thing in the world, but still, they were still consistently picking up points. And then they just barely lost to Celtic 4-3 in that absolute Boxing Day thriller, which I saw, like, their second penalty, that really wasn't a penalty, it was definitely a dive, but still, they got it. They lost the game anyway, so, yeah. And then they just won against Livingston. Yeah, Motherwell really are turning their season around. Aberdeen really are turning their season around. And, yeah, I don't know how I got Motherwell in my head right there. That was weird. But, yeah, and because of that, I'll have to give them a solid B. By the way, I forgot to grade Hearts. I'm going to give them a C, purely because of their downfall. In 3rd in the league is probably another really big surprise. It's Kilmarnock, who are 3rd in the league. And not just that, you think that Celtic and Rangers would then just be absolutely miles ahead. They're only 1 point off Celtic and Rangers, who are tied for the top of the league. And Kilmarnock had a really good start to the season. Like, they beat Celtic until we played them again and hammered them 5-1. But they Kilmarnock are actually doing really well, given their standards. And, like, they keep on winning. They've taken points from every single club this season. They beat Celtic. They drew against Rangers. They've also, I believe they've won against Aberdeen. They've definitely taken points from Hearts. They won against Hearts. And then like, other good results that they've had as well. They've taken points from every single club, and they really are. They could even be a dark horse. Some people have even had the idea, including myself really, that they could do a Leicester. It wouldn't surprise me that much if they actually done a Leicester. Yes, it would be absolutely shocking if they did win the league, but still, just could you imagine that, Kilmarnock actually winning the league? That would literally be the Scottish version of Leicester winning the league in 2016. I remember when that happened and everyone just went mental. Yeah, Kilmarnock, I'm going to rate them an A. It has to be an A. You can't rate them anything else. And next up in 2nd is Rangers, obviously with Steven Gerrard as the manager. And they had a pretty slow start of the season, as did Celtic, who I'll cover later on. But yeah, Rangers, they had a slow start. They drew 1-1 against Aberdeen. Then they did win their second game. I can't really remember who they were playing, but they won. Then they drew 3-3 to Motherwell, lost the Old Firm in September. Then they started to go on a little run of back-to-back wins. Then they lost 1-0 to Livingston. Then they did win against Hearts and all that, but then again, This is when Hearts are really starting to go downhill, and they've just won the Old Firm as well, for the first time since 2016, which obviously I was raging about, but they were the better side in the end, so I don't think anyone can deny that. But yeah, Rangers, I still don't think they're going to win the league this season, despite the fact they have made a lot of improvements, which, I mean, they were obviously going to be better than last season, but here's the thing, Celtic have played one less game because of the League Cup final, so we've still got another game to play against St Johnstone, which if we win that, then we'll definitely be much further ahead. Like, if Rangers weren't dropping points all these times, then they would be miles ahead. And same thing with Celtic, who I'll cover a little bit later, but Rangers, they've made a lot of improvements, so I'm going to give them a B+. And then finally it's Celtic, who had a very slow start of the season. They did win against Livingston in the first match day, but then they lost 1-0 to Hearts. Then they beat Hamilton and Rangers 1-0. Then they drew 0-0 to St Mirren, lost to Kilmarnock, won against Aberdeen and St Johnstone. And other good results like a 4-2 win against Hibs, which is an absolute thriller, by the way. And then like we also won 3-0 against Dundee. 5-0 against Dundee it was. Then 5-0 against Hearts. Then we drew 0-0 to Livingston, which wasn't the ideal, but then we moved top of the league, so we really were turning the season around, and it really was like the Celtic we all knew from like years ago. Then we beat Hamilton Accies 3-0, and then from that point on, I really say we were back to our best, and we've just been picking up points. We just keep picking up points. Yeah, the Old Firm loss and the Hibs loss, that was frustrating for me as a Celtic fan, but we're still, but that's hopefully just going to be like one-offs. Like the Old Firm, I keep saying, it's one game, we're going to bounce back. We're coming up against St Mirren next. Meanwhile, Rangers are coming up against Kilmarnock, and that's a game that Kilmarnock could actually win, given how they've been this season, and Celtic really should win against St Mirren, and given that we've missed a game because of the League Cup final against Aberdeen, which we won, if we do win that, then we'll surely be the favourites for 8 in a row, but still, given how there are times where we just drop unnecessary points, I'll give us an A-. So that is it for the half-season review, basically the half-term report for the Scottish Premiership season. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.